Welcome to the David Pakman Show. Unless this is your first time tuning in and you think that I might be David, I need to set you at ease. I am not David Pakman. My name is Jesse Dollemore. I host the Dollemore Daily on YouTube, a program very similar to this, and I co-host a podcast called I Doubt It Podcast with the lovely, talented, and indeed scholarly Brittany Page. Buckle up. We've got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to start with the tragedy surrounding the nearly 70 lives lost when a commuter jet collided with an Army helicopter, a Black Hawk helicopter. We knew that Donald Trump's second term was going to be chaotic. We knew it was going to be damaging. We knew it was going to be dangerous. But I think a lot of us didn't quite suspect it would get off to such a rocky start. And Donald Trump has proven himself to be that agent of chaos. Especially, it's highlighted when we have an incident like we did at National Airport just the other day. This set of clips I'm getting ready to play should make you very afraid. And not in an alarmist kind of, be afraid and everybody should hide under their pillows and not fight against the fascistic agenda of Donald Trump and the damaging, deleterious effects that he's going to cause up and down the government and for people who rely upon the government for services. I'm not even talking about that. Donald Trump is now in a state of confusion almost 24/7 in a manner that was different than the first term. He has staffers handing him documents, just telling him to sign them. He's asking them, what is this document that I'm signing? Explain it. Acting as though he has any understanding of what it is. I'm going to play several clips here. One takes place at about 4 p.m. yesterday when Donald Trump was handed documents, just like I just described, by a staffer. And the first part of it is him assigning someone to be the Federal Aviation Administration's administrator because there wasn't one. This tragedy occurred, and there was no one at the helm because Donald Trump hadn't gotten around to naming somebody to be in charge. The other element of the clip is Donald Trump signing effectively, it's a White House memorandum that says, hey guys, this wasn't my fault. This was Obama's fault somehow. This was Joe Biden's fault somehow. It couldn't be Donald Trump. The thing I've been talking about the last few days is that anything that happened wrong during Joe Biden's term was Joe Biden's fault. And anything that happens wrong during Donald Trump's term is also Joe Biden's fault. Watch this first clip.
There's two items for your signature today. The first is the formal commission appointing Chris Rochelot to be the Deputy Administrator of the Federal Aviation Administration. Right. And since the commissioner position since the administrator position is currently vacant, he will act as the administrator since he's now been appointed deputy.
And he's a very capable guy.
Extremely experienced in aviation and highly regarded in the industry and in government.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Second, for your signature, we have a presidential memorandum titled Immediate Assessment of Aviation Safety. In light of the damage done to aviation safety by the Biden administration's DEI and woke policies, what this presidential memorandum orders is for your Secretary of Transportation and FAA Administrator, in this case acting FAA Administrator, to basically ensure that we are actively undoing all of that damage, that we are assessing how much damage was done, and that we're ensuring that people hired within the FAA, in keeping with your memorandum of January 21st, are only the most outstanding, capable people for the jobs that they are being hired into.
In other words, competence.
Yes, sir. Elevating competence over everything else instead of the DEI policies that were pursued by the Biden administration.
I think everyone understands that. And Obama.
Yes.
Both of them. Okay, but Biden much worse. Not even a contest. What they've done is just crazy in so many other ways.
The toady explaining Donald Trump having no understanding whatsoever of what's going on. He's just not in the loop this time. It is what we expected, though, that Donald Trump learned from the mistakes of his first administration, and now he's just surrounded himself with the worst people who have the worst intentions for the country. Unfortunately, in moments like this, it's when you really start to realize just how much we need leadership at times like this. Donald Trump blaming someone else for something that happened on his watch because of his failures, and then also blaming DEI and woke policies. And we'll get to that these woke policies that he's decrying right now are actually put into motion on his watch. We'll get to that. I want to go to earlier in the day, though. Late morning yesterday, when Donald Trump came out, was blaming the DEI and had Pete Hegseth there trying to, yes, sir, thank you for your leadership. You're such a bold and mighty man. I love and worship you. You are a demigod, the greatest president the earth has ever known. It's all very gross, but very on brand for Donald Trump. In fact, let's start there before we get to the presidential memo and start with Pete Hegseth and the sycophantic bootlick act that he's going through.
But I want to echo what the Transportation Secretary and you, Mr. President, said, because it pertains to the DOD as well. We will have the best and brightest in every position possible. As you said in your inaugural, it is colorblind and merit-based. The best leaders possible, whether it's flying Black Hawks and flying airplanes, leading platoons, or in government. The era of DEI is gone at the Defense Department. And we need the best and brightest, whether it's in our air traffic control, or whether it's in our generals, or whether it's throughout government. So thank you for your leadership and courage on that, sir, and we'll stand by you on it. Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership and courage, Donald Trump. Your courage, Donald Trump. They're beating the drum of DEI. They're beating the drum of woke because that's the only card they've got. All morning they beat this drum. Here's Donald Trump actually being asked about it by a reporter and saying that, look, it's common sense that this has to do with DOI. It's common sense.
Today, blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. We then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have.
I was going to do this. I was going to do that. Not my fault, guys. DEI, it's woke. It's the black people. They're to blame. Even though they have no details of what's going on at the point that he's speaking right there. Now we know that one of the crew of the helicopter was a white person. It doesn't matter. All of the people in the cockpits of both aircrafts, I'm certain, were highly qualified, highly skilled, highly trained. But Donald Trump needs a scapegoat. Anything to deflect attention away from what his failures and shortcomings are. Now, he's right there saying it's common sense. He just knows because it's so clear, it's so self-evident that it must be DEI. He was asked about this while defending his mighty presidential memorandum, blaming everyone else, and had a little different tune later in the day.
And Obama.
Yes.
Both of them. Okay, but Biden much worse. Not even a contest. What they've done is just crazy in so many other ways. Okay?
Mr. President, to be clear, are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have. I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role. We'll let you know that. But we want the most competent people. We don't care what race they are. We want the most competent people, especially in those positions. And you're talking about extremely complex things. And if they don't have a great brain, a great power of the brain, they're not going to be very good at what they do, and bad things will happen.
Did race or gender play a role in this tragedy? I don't know. It may have. Little different than it's common sense. I have common sense. That's how I know. You see, the strategy is to throw as much against the wall to see what sticks, because it gives right-wing propagandists and Fox News and Newsmax and OAN and the disparate satellite network of print media for the right and idiots like Charlie Kirk, it gives them the marching orders with what lie to go with. It gives Jesse Waters on Fox News something to talk about and directives on how to speak about it. And then they can walk it back. Again, dangerous, dangerous times.
People in the audience know that I have never had a cat. And so many of my friends have said, you've got to meet my cat. My cat's awesome. And they're always right. And I end up loving the cat. And that's why I love that one of our sponsors today is Smalls, who make cat food with human-grade ingredients. Smalls uses protein-packed recipes with no preservatives or artificial flavors, using ingredients that you'd find in your own fridge. That's why Cats.com named Smalls the best overall cat food. And Smalls works with the Humane Society. They've donated over $1 million worth of food to help cats, and they even give you a chance to donate at checkout for vaccines, spaying, and neutering. I have a friend who recently switched to Smalls for his cat. I can tell you firsthand, his cat's food smells way better now. And it's because of the human-grade ingredients that Smalls uses. No more weird odor filling the house. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. And the team at Smalls is so confident your cat will love the product that they will refund you if your cat won't eat the food. Head to smalls.com and use promo code PACMAN at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. The link is in the description.